Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Joy, Love, and Healing Podcast. I'm Jay Bradley, and really excited to have my next guest on. And you're not going to believe it. He messaged me earlier, and he said, "Guess what day it is? It's what is it, Adrian?
The World Microdosing Day.
It's World Microdosing Day. I mean, and we did not plan this conversation, but today we're going to talk about microdosing. We're going to talk about plant medicine. It's a big topic, but first let me let me introduce my friend Adrian. Thanks for joining us, Adrian. Adrian Lozano has been working with plant medicine for over 5 years. Plant medicine found him when he was in a really dark depression fueled with anxiety. And before plant medicine, he was trapped in his own negative thoughts that were quite negative, and he was able to move through a metamorphosis, and he learned how to lead from his heart. His intention is to be a conduit for the medicine through education, resources, guidance, and support, and he facilitates private and group ceremonies. He also works with people one-to-one and pulls from different modalities such as meditation, breathwork, shadow work, microdosing, and sound healing. So welcome, Adrian. It's so good to see you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's been a while since we chatted, and I'm really excited to dig in because this is a really hot topic. You know, so many people talking about plant medicine, and I think there's some confusion about it, and certainly microdosing. I've seen it in different areas, even for treatment in depression, and you know, so I don't know. Can you just start by telling us a little bit about like why plant medicine for you and how it started?
Yeah, so like I said, plant medicine found me. That's what people always say usually. It really, for me, like I've heard about it before and I've used it recreationally, but I was at a point in my life where I really needed some guidance, some support, because whatever I was doing was not working out, and I was really at a low point, what I call like rock bottom. And a friend had mentioned to me, like he had gone to Peru to drink plant medicine, ayahuasca, and then he came back and he had all these, like he was a different person. And I was like, I want whatever he had, and I want it now. And then that's when I first sat with the medicine about 5 years ago, and it's been a journey since. And like for me, it's the one thing. It's not the only way of healing. You know, there's obviously many ways, but it's the way that called me the most, and it opened me up to everything else, like consciousness, meditation, and just like inner work, healing, and how to do the work. Because I really was lost. And once I started diving into plant medicine, it really showed me who I really was without all of those negative thoughts and barriers and trauma, all these things I was able to work through, not in one ceremony, but many ceremonies. And just like now, that's kind of how like, in one powerful ceremony, I got the calling to like, this is my path, the medicine path. So that's kind of how I got into facilitating and being a guide and mentor and really walking people through the experience of healing with plant medicine.
I love that, and I had a similar experience with breathwork, where it was this knowing that, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I understand that feeling. What would you say to people who haven't tried plant medicine? And I want to talk about the different kinds of plant medicine because I know there's a bunch. So how does one heal from depression? You were dealing with anxiety and depression. Like what happens? How can you put it into words? How did you change? How did you shift into a better feeling state through plant medicine?
The biggest word for that is integration. When I first started working in plant medicine, I actually didn't know about integration and I was not integrating. So that's why it is important to do some inner work or have some foundation before going into a ceremony, because I was going into it without any grounding techniques, any tools, of how to actually, do the inner healing work. So in the beginning, it was kind of dangerous because I had these experiences. I thought I was healed, and then I was right back on my BS a couple of months later. The medicine doesn't do the work for you. You have to do the work. So it's just like it only works as well as you work. So the healing process happens when the person walks the path of whatever they saw in ceremony and integrating that into their day to day. And then that's how the micro shifts happen, and you start to let go of things that don't serve you, and then come back to yourself. And I guess that's where the healing happens. That's the bridge between the person in ceremony, and then that transformational aspect of it is the integration part.
Right, because it takes you on such a deep spiritual journey that I imagine it could be hard for people, right, to integrate and to get back to like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
This is the real world. How do I deal with this?
Yeah.
Is that partly your work with people? I mean, now you take people on journeys privately and in groups,
hmm
and we'll talk more about what that's like. But do you also support them afterward? Is there a program that
Yeah.
you
So
offer?
I also do work with people like one-on-one guidance and support in like helping them either get ready for a ceremony, helping them with microdosing, or just doing the inner work in general, like, calming down the nervous system, seeing making the unconscious conscious, and helping them integrate whatever is they saw in ceremony and bringing that into their day to day. Because for me, that was the missing link. I was doing ceremonies and nothing was happening, but once I started going to therapy, that's what changed it for me. So for me, I see the value of working with someone one on one to hold space for you, to help you, allow you to process and really, shine light to your blind spots and keep you accountable. All the different things that I feel are very powerful that help me out, and that's what I do as well now as a guide.
I know a lot of people have heard about ayahuasca, but not everybody understands that. I know that I think there's two plants that are combined
Yeah.
and made into a tea, if I'm not mistaken. But can you maybe talk about the different plant medicines and the ones that you really are called to?
Yeah, so ayahuasca is like the one that I'm the most called to, like what I work with the most for my own personal healing. That one comes from the Amazon. It is the ayahuasca vine and chacruna leaves. Um, I think the chacruna leaves has DMT, or one of those two has DMT, but
Mm-hmm.
when you drink it by itself, nothing happens because our body breaks it down. When you mix the two together, somehow our enzymes don't break it down, and then we absorb the DMT, and that's when you get that psychedelic experience, or that profound experience. And really that medicine itself, so it's a little tea, drink like this much, that's all. And it's
Amazing.
just profound what it can do, because our brain has DMT in it, so it activates that, and it helps process trauma, a lot of things. And in general, ayahuasca is a purgative, so the biggest thing about it is purging, and people get really worked up about that, like, oh, I'm gonna be
Which,
throwing up.
yeah, who wants to throw up? Yeah,
But
yeah. I hate throwing
it feels really good, and it's different because, like,
up.
once you're in there, knees deep into the bucket, and you're letting go of things, like, you can really feel she's helping you release sometimes physical pain, sometimes emotional, energetics, spiritual blockages that we have, and you're really just like purging it out. And purging looks different. It's not just vomiting, it could be yelling,
Mhm.
screaming, yawning, purging through the other side. There's different ways of purging, but
Really?
oh yeah, yeah. Sweating, all of
Never heard of that
dancing.
one before. Yeah. I recently talked to somebody who mentioned that they didn't purge, but so it's not necessarily a part of the process for
No,
everybody.
no. I mean,
Yeah.
there. I like purging, so if I don't purge in a ceremony, I'm like, what? I feel robbed.
I could see that. I mean, even in my breathwork, sessions with clients, it's sometimes coughing and almost a purging of a sense as well. And I understand that 'cause it's not just a physical thing.
Hmm.
It's we're purging deep trauma, emotion, heaviness, anything that we've been storing. And sometimes that's the easiest way, just cough it out or to clear it in some way, right?
Yeah,
Energetically.
it's really just that a clearing of energy that is stuck in there or stagnant, and really just afterwards, and after someone purges, then they can process and heal and further, like, go through their experience. A lot of times it's after you purge that you have, like, the mystical experience.
Okay, so I had a couple different plant medicine experiences, not ayahuasca, and both were kind of dark and not enjoyable. And I might have mentioned this to you in the past. You know, I mean, my mind goes to, okay, I have some more stuff to process. Like, God, don't we all, right?
Yeah.
That's life. But like, I was missing the bliss part or the joy part. Is that common, or is that just me? What do you see in people?
So, like, it the medicine meets you where you're at, and it gives you what you need, not what you want. And it also doesn't give you
Yeah.
more than what you can handle. So depending on where you're at on your journey, like, sometimes certain plant medicines are really good with shadow work. So if things are dark or things are like, difficult, or those are things that are in your subconscious that are there that have to come to surface first. Like for me, my first
Right.
ceremonies were all dark and they were all scary, and they still are sometimes, but now I'm
Yeah.
at the point where if I have a ceremony, sometimes it's been about creation, flow, energy, all these ideas, creativity. It's really good. I can tap into that, but it took me a long time to get there.
You kind of cleared away all the heaviness and
For the most part.
maybe,
For the most part, yeah.
well, yeah, we always, I mean, this is an ongoing journey,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
What other plant medicines do you deal
yeah. So
with
I work
clients?
with, well, I primarily work with psilocybin mushrooms. That's what I serve in
Okay.
ceremony. I don't work with ayahuasca. Um,
Okay.
as far as serving, no, I work with that medicine for my own healing, but for my clients and what I hold space for is psilocybin mushrooms. That's in the form of the actual fruiting bodies or in microdosing, which we can talk about that as well. But yeah,
Hmm.
psilocybin, it's I think gonna change the world because it's really accessible. Anyone can grow it now and like wherever, so you can get it from anywhere. You can grow it yourself. It's becoming legalized, and we're seeing it come legalized in certain states. Oakland has it legalized. Um, Oregon, just it's going to be on the ballot here in California. So that's what's going to be more accessible, and you don't have to go with a shaman to sit with ayahuasca to do that. So I think mushrooms are really going to be the key changer in the psychedelic community. Um, Other plant medicines I work with is San Pedro, which is a cactus, and that one is also like a powerful plant medicine. It a lot different than ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is a feminine energy, and San Pedro is a masculine energy. It's grandfather San Pedro. So they each have their own properties and ways of healing. They're each very powerful in their own unique ways.
That's interesting. Does that also mean that they bring out the feminine or the masculine traits? Not that, like, for example, when I think of anger, I think if it's more like a masculine type trait. I don't know if I'm
Mm,
correct in that.
yeah, no, I've seen. It's
All sorts of
it's
things.
the energy of the plant spirit, not the
Yeah.
energy of the person. So like ayahuasca in itself, it's not going to make you be more feminine. It's going to give you the feminine energy that you need to process or heal. And I've seen, especially men, that
Yeah.
are really like they work on their anger because we suppress so much of our emotions that yeah, they're gonna get freaking angry and yell and
Yeah.
scream, and they're they're
Yeah.
they're the craziest guys. We're just the craziest.
Yeah. They are. In the breath work too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you know that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun to watch.
I bet. And we're the ones that sometimes cry the most, and it's beautiful.
Isn't that the truth? I tell people often, it's the guys who come in, kind of tough, have it all together, never done any breath work, and then by the end, crying, releasing, saying, I haven't cried in 20 years. So it's similar. It takes you on a journey, opens the heart. And a lot of these plant medicines are really heart opening, opening you up to more gentleness. I would imagine self
Yeah.
love and forgiveness and compassion.
Well, like I would say, going on a psychedelic journey and breathwork is very similar in a way, except on breathwork
Hmm.
you're getting high on your own supply, you know,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
breathwork activates DMT. I mean, you know all this, but yeah,
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
the same kind of release, but plant medicine's a lot more intense in some ways.
Yes, it really, really is. I mean, again, I haven't done certain ones, but I've dabbled, and like you said, I think we're called, and I think
Hmm.
I'll know if and when the time is right. But I love that you're holding space like this for people and helping them to probably move through similar things that you did,
Yeah.
which is depression, anxiety. What else did you struggle with, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, trauma, a lot of things like that. I didn't even know I had trauma, and like and now it's even I had a ceremony recently where I realized I have a deep mother wound and things that I
Yeah.
never even realized that it because it goes really deep and it goes like in your subconscious. And recently I realized that I was like, what? How did I not know that? I was like, well, then the medicine told me, yeah, this is why you project in this way. This is why you have abandonment issues. This is why you have insecurities, and this is how you act in relationships. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I
Just
was like,
kidding.
thanks, mom.
It
So,
always goes back to our
yeah,
parents and
I mean,
childhood.
yeah, but starting this journey, I didn't know any of this really. What I got into it was because I was so
Yeah.
stressed out and I had so many anxiety attacks that my body was screaming for help. That was like it, but now it's like it's going
Yeah.
deeper into the layers of my subconscious and traumas that I have. So what I like is that I'm still able to do this work on myself, but I
Mhm.
can still hold space for other people to do theirs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they say that in the coaching world, you just need to be 30 seconds or a few days ahead of your clients. Like, it's not like you have to be this guru on a hill because gurus are a thing of the past anyway.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, you've gone through it, you've experienced it, and you're able to take people on a similar journey.
Yeah.
Since today's World Microdosing Day, which is crazy,
Yeah. Beautiful.
what can we microdose?
You can
What
microdose
plants?
anything.
Really?
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah?
microdosing is just taking a small amount, very small amount of any plant or substance or whatever. People microdose LSD, people microdose
Hmm.
psilocybin mushrooms. I think they microdose ayahuasca, although I wouldn't do that. Um, San Pedro. The most popular ones are LSD and psilocybin mushrooms. The ones that I work with is psilocybin. And um, yeah, that is, I mean, there's still a lot of research coming out about it, but it's what I've seen in like clients and people I work with. It can have really profound effects because it's not something that it's going to be like a huge thing, like a journey where, it could be really intense. Some people don't want to do that and they're not called to do that. And, they don't want to like have that, very intense work, but they are curious about how microdosing could help. And what I do is intentional microdosing. You know, there's a difference between taking a microdose and having an intentional microdose practice. Huge difference.
Okay. Do you want to share? And also kind of goes into my other question about like ceremony
Mhm.
versus practicing maybe microdosing on a daily basis. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, so microdose, having like an intentional microdose practice is, committing to like, let's say 2 months of having a microdose protocol, let's say like 3 days on microdose, 2 days off. And in that time, you're incorporating, grounding techniques, whether it's meditation, breath work, journaling, yoga, something to help you ground and embody into into yourself and to the present moment. And you're also committing to like maybe, you're going to stop drinking or maybe you're going to go to the gym or whatever it is that your intention is. Um, it's going to help you out with that. It's more of a long term, more settle. Some people say microdosing is boring because you can do it on a normal day to day. Like you can go to work, you can do your normal daily routine and still have this effect. And it's not going to be anything super profound, but over time, it's going to have profound shifts, that, it can help you relieve anxiety, depression, stress. It can help you be more creative. It can help you be in the flow, be more just fluid in how you go about your day to day. And that is like a big shift in like someone's becoming less reactive and becoming more mindful and more responsive.
I'm sure there's a lot of factors in terms of what goes on in the brain and the
Oh yeah.
body with different plant medicines. I like the words like rewire your
Yeah.
brain and your emotional system when we talk about breath work, and I assume it's kind of similar, right?
Yeah. It does have that same rewiring of the brain. It does, I mean, on a chemical level, it does, your neurons and your dopamine receptors and all of
Hmm.
that, but I don't want to get into the
Yeah.
science behind it. But yeah, there's a lot of science and research on it, of what plant medicine in general can do. But that's microdosing. And as you were saying for ceremony, what's the difference, or what is a ceremony really? It's, the same thing, like having the intention and not just taking this medicine recreationally for fun and with your friends and like laughing and giggling, watching TV. No, it's like having the set and setting of a ritual, but not really ritualistic, but like, just being in a space, in a container that is for this intention, lighting your sage, your Palo Santo, like all that, having an altar, speaking out your intentions, giving reverence to whatever it is you want to, and going on this inward journey experience and having like the music and all of that that's very intentional to help you go inward. And in the ceremony you have a practitioner, a facilitator or guide that is there to help you if in case you need assistance or just to like make you feel more comfortable and safe and all of that. And you know that is where the big shifts can happen, like the life changing like epiphanies and sometimes ego deaths and all these kind of big things can happen. So ceremony is that more profound, like, really life-changing experiences that can be had in that space.
And some of those go on for 2 or 3 days, right? Depending.
I mean, Iboga, the medicine is also that's from Africa. That one does go for like
Hmm.
a couple days. I've never had that medicine, but typically like
Yeah.
ayahuasca or psilocybin is like 4 to 6 hours.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I remember hearing some people who did ayahuasca. I thought it was like a 2 day thing where the first night they sort of had a darker experience and then they did it
Well,
again on the
that's like a
hours later or
multiple
something.
day ceremonies. Like, yeah, you'll have like
Yeah.
you can do like back to back, like Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Like you are able to do them, but those are all separate ceremonies.
Okay. Got it. What would you, I mean, I guess the first thing I think of is if someone's dealing with addiction, let's say, and then they turn to something like this, is it considered addictive too in a different way? Or,
No. Um, and a lot of people that I've seen do go to this medicine for addictions and things like that. Um,
yeah.
this is non-addictive, and I mean, it's yeah, it's not habit forming, non-addictive, and also not fun. Like ayahuasca is not a good time. It's gross. The medicines like taste nasty. I don't. Every time when I sit in ceremony, I'm still scared, and I'm like I don't know what's gonna happen, but and I'm
Yeah.
here to do the
Yeah.
work. I'm not here to have fun and have a good time, and I'm here to do the work, and I know that it might be scary or difficult, but I'm gonna come out better in whatever way that happens. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. A really permanent, I'm sure, a really deep shift.
yeah,
We're not always sure what it's going to be, but something's going to move,
yeah, exactly.
which is so exciting. I feel like, again, maybe similar to breathwork, people come who have tried different things to
Hmm.
feel better, and it's like nothing's working, and I've kind of given up hope sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, let me try this route, and then suddenly they sort of have a big awakening.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure you've seen it, just like the epiphanies, the awakenings, how people change and all the healing that
Yeah.
happens. It's like it's honestly really beautiful to see that. And I learned through their experience as well. Like when you heal, I heal, we all heal together kind of thing. So it's really beautiful to be a witness of all of this happening and just allowing the medicine to do the work that needs to be done.
Is there any benefits to a group over private? Just depends on the person.
Yeah, some people prefer to have a one-on-one private experience. They might feel more comfortable. Like I prefer, I like both because in a private environment, I'm more like I know more about the client and I know what they're coming in with. I know kind of know more about their journey. I can put more energy into whatever's going on with them and just focus all of that and on them and help them with integration. It's more personalized experience. Some people would prefer that. In a group ceremony, there's not that same intimacy, but there is the collective energy is something that's very powerful too. Like it just I like that. I like group settings too. A lot of there's a lot of energy moving, just like in breathwork. I like group breathwork because you can hear the collective and people like going through their experiences, and that helps you ground through your experience. If you're crying and then you hear someone else crying, it makes you feel like, oh wow, we're all in this together. Or if someone's
Yeah.
laughing or dancing or whatever it is, you're like, wow, that's beautiful. And then so it's like, and just like, and some moments like the music and all of that, just like a group energy environment is feels to me like at one point like heaven. Like it's just like, wow, this is amazing. Or it could be
Yeah, I
it
know.
could be
I
hell
know.
too, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and they could be on Zoom and they're muted, so you don't hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the modern age. So, I obviously, as maybe not obviously, I'm assuming most plant medicine rituals and ceremonies are only done in person, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean microdosing you could do it by yourself, but
You could do by
no,
yourself.
ceremonies you cannot do. I mean, actually, yeah, some
People
people,
need to support you, right?
yeah, so I've have heard of them doing it virtually, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know how that works, but yeah.
Modern day plant
Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, what about legalities then? Because you brought it up earlier. I know we're working on that, but what does that mean for people?
It's
microdosing on
Yeah,
psilocybin.
it's a great area, and I'm not condoning the use of
Hmm.
any illegal substances.
Hmm.
It really is up to the individual, and like, you can go to states or countries where it's legal and do it that way. It's really up to the person if what steps they want to take and to the path that they want to go on in regards to this. But yeah, like I've done a lot of my ceremonies in Mexico for that reason, because it's legal and it's safe. You can go to Oregon and do psilocybin therapy. There's ketamine therapy that's legal here, so that's also something that is
Yeah,
available.
I have friends doing that right now, actually. I was curious, is that a plant medicine or is that a
No, it's a synthetic.
no?
I've
Yeah,
I've done it before.
yeah,
It's it's intense. Um, I'll just say that it's intense. I can see how it's powerful, and I can see how people can have breakthroughs with it if they want to go the more I guess clinical route. I personally prefer plant medicine because I just feel guided by Mother Earth in that experience.
yeah.
You just have that grounding of nature.
Right. No, that makes sense. You're connecting as much as you can to nature, trusting that if it was created
Hmm.
naturally, there's, a reason for it, and
Yeah,
they can help us in our healing. I love that. Look, we need all the help we can get, don't
yeah,
we?
yeah.
It's a crazy world, and I always say, like, keep saying yes, keep, trying things, and just find something that works for you. I'm sure plant medicine isn't for everybody, just like
Hmm.
breathwork's not for everybody, but yeah, it's such an important. That's why I wanted to do this podcast. Introduce people to a variety of options,
Hmm.
because the one thing for sure is we deserve to feel good, and we deserve to live life fully. And I was like you, depression, anxiety, and lots of different struggles, and you get to a point where you just kind of want to give up hope. But here we are,
And that's beautiful
fixed,
how,
healed.
yeah, it's beautiful how like we both have similar but different paths of like how we found these modalities and how like it spoke to us so clearly that now it's like, well, I want to show others this way too.
Yes, you're a messenger, you're a guide, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I want people to find out more about how they can book with you, and uh, and do you want to share? And then I'm going to ask you some questions at the end. But do you want to
Yeah.
share with people right now where they could find you?
Yeah, I mean, really the best way is by Instagram. My Instagram is lozano.flows. That's like the best way to reach out to me. And I'm on Signal too and some other forms of communication, but Instagram is like the best one. So that 'cause I don't have like a website or anything like that. It's for different reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. More and more people are going offline. They're over it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Getting
exactly.
back to. Okay, so anything else you want to share about what we talked about microdosing, plant medicine, people's journeys?
I think at the end of the day, for anyone that's curious about plant medicine, really take the time to see like what is your intention behind wanting to do this. Like, have a really good reason of why. And at the end of the day, like plant medicine, breath work, whatever it is, you are the medicine. Like, yes, these
Ooh,
modalities
yeah.
are ways to help you get to where you want to go. They can show you the path, but us as people, individuals, we are the medicine and we are the ones that are walking the path. We're the ones that are doing it. So just keep that in mind when having these experiences is that you're the one doing the healing with your own self and just kind of keep rooted in that.
I love that. I think that would answer people's fear about, it taking them somewhere they don't want to go, or it's like in a way we always do have some control as well, right? With
Yeah,
our own healing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you. I have a few questions for you. I
yeah.
always like to ask people. And number one is, what brings you the most joy in your life?
I would say being playful.
Ooh,
Yeah, not taking life too seriously.
I love that. Is that easy for you to do?
No, I mean, wait, no, no, it's easy for me to take life not seriously. Like, I love finding the humor in the cosmic joke. Like, I love just like, even when I'm having a difficult time or experience or resistance, I laugh at it. I'm like, okay, what am I learning through this experience? So, yeah.
Oh, that's good. I could learn from you on that one.
It's hard,
I
but
love
yeah.
it. Yeah. And what do you love most about yourself?
Oh, that's a good one. What I love most about myself is I think how much of a big heart I have, how like it's so open, and for me, it's the path of healing kind of led me to that because there was a point where I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to. And through this work, I've had to learn time and time again how to love myself in different aspects of myself. And now it's like, well, I see that love in everybody else. And it's something that I have to keep cultivating. And it's like a muscle that keeps flexing and it becomes bigger and bigger. And now people can feel that. And it's just a great feeling all around.
I concur with that. Thank you. I completely agree with that. I've had this similar experience. And what about your definition of healing?
Mm. For me, that's a good one. Healing is really just coming back to yourself. Like walking home is before all the conditioning, the programming, the trauma, and all of that. It's like coming back to whole and finding yourself, whatever that means for you. It's different versions of it, but it's just, for me, it's that like walking home. Because now, where I'm at in my healing journey, that's what it's been like. I've been working on a lot of inner child work and going back to my inner child, and I feel very playful, very young at heart, and like I feel like that's what for me, that's what healing is, going back to that little kid.
I love it. I'm so happy to see you again, my friend.
Likewise, Jay.
Yeah, really good to connect on World Microdosing Day.
Yes, and then I took my microdose today too, and I was like, yes, that was good.
Perfect.
Yes,
Oh, it was really great to chat, and we'll see you again soon. And thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Hope you will be back next time with our next episode of Joy, Love, and Healing. Take care.